بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا سهلا. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Tonight, inshaAllah ta'ala, we want to discuss a different, inshaAllah khairan, inshaAllah. We want to discuss a different topic under the chapter of the benefits of hunger. This particular topic tonight, inshaAllah ta'ala, Imam al-Ghazali will explain some of the afat, some of the evils that seep or enter into our disciplining ourselves on staying away from food. Right? Now, sometimes we are very oblivious as human beings that these things can happen to us. One of those things that enters into our mujahada, our juhad, our strife and our hard work and our disciplining ourselves on maintaining that modicum amount of intake, not going into the excess, not starving oneself to the very minimum. As we've seen, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to be a person who used to follow the middle path. Okay? But then again, we say also, when can you follow that middle path is once you have, trained your nafs, you have disciplined it. It can now, for example, it can repel the urges. You can say, no, khalas, I don't want to eat now. Right? Even though there might be a sense of hunger, you can repel it. You don't have the urge to eat. You don't have that urge pulling you, and the desire pulling you to fill your belly, because it's a nafsani desire, and from there grows a lot of evil sprouts. Now, once a person has come to that level, you are now, you can control your nafs, you can eat whenever you want to eat. You eat only when you're hungry. Okay? This is the level which you want to achieve. And this is the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now, once a person has reached that level, certain evils comes in and they destroy all of this hard work. And one of them evils is riya. So Imam al-Ghazali rahmatullahi alayhi, he says, يدخل على تارك الشهوات آفتان عظيمتان. When a person starts leaving his shahwat for wealth, his shahwa for food, his shahwa to fulfill his sexual desires, shahwa for fame and all of these other things, two main evils attack you. Right? Two main evils attack you. The first one is أن يخفي الشهوة ويأكل في الخلوة ما لا يأكل مع الجماعة وإظهارها صدق الحال. The first thing is that the person must be extremely genuine with himself when he undertakes this discipline. Genuine, meaning when I'm with my crew, when I'm with my ikhwan and the murideen, or maybe the brothers that I hang out with, that we all say, khalas, we're going to start disciplining our nafs, we're going to train it on taking, a very minimum amount of intake. You're going to follow the path of the Ahlul Tasawwuf, the Zahideen. It's good for the body, it's good for the mind, it's good for our pocket, it's good for the environment, it's good for so many reasons. We mentioned it before. So we take that particular approach when we're in the group, but when we're outside the group, what do? By on ourselves, we open the cupboard, start open the sneaker, start eating the sneaker bar, we drink ourselves silly with all sorts of fizzy drinks. We eat like gluttonous eaters outside, but when we come into the company, khalas, we're fine, alhamdulillah, we're with you guys, we do the zuhud together. This type of attitude, this is not genuine, this is not sidq. Sidq means that what is outwardly is inwardly. What the person says is outwardly. For example, look at that person, mashallah. The food is put in front of him. What he ate from it is only, a morsel. Right? What a person sees outwardly is like that inwardly as well. Inwardly meaning he is committed, he's got a high resolve, he's going to see this process through, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give him the habits of the siddiqeen. Okay? And sometimes it doesn't happen. The guy goes in the corner, goes at home, opens the cupboards, right, and starts indulging. That is not sidq, and that is an afa. That is the evil that afflicts the people who are trying to discipline themselves. So watch out for that. Try not to do like that, because if you happen to behave like that, that is not genuineness. And this path requires genuineness. In the whole process of tasawwuf, this is a lesson in tasawwuf. This is one of the trainings in tasawwuf, right? You don't see Sufis, big bellies, and constantly eating. They only eat when they're hungry, right? So if a person does not have genuineness in tasawwuf, all of these struggles of different areas, they fail. And Imam al-Zarruq and the Sufis of the Shadiliyya tariqah, they define tasawwuf as this: sidqu tawajjuhu ila Allah. Sidqu tawajjuhi ila Allah. To have genuineness in marching towards Allah. Genuineness in marching towards Allah. So there can be lots of distractions on the path, but when a person is genuine and has got resolve, then he stays on that path. Alright? And that happens also when a person looks at oneself. Nonetheless, Imam Ghazali says further, says, إخفاء النقص وإظهار ضده نقصانان متضاعفان. Imam Ghazali says, when a person is doing this, he's got actually two evils, but he doesn't know it. He thinks he's eating behind, out of the company, so he pretends he is a zahid. Imam Ghazali says, he's not only a pretender, he's got two evils. The first evil is ikhfa'ul naqs. He's trying to hide his deficiencies. He's trying to hide his weaknesses from others. There's one deficiency. The other deficiency is idharu diddihi, to show the opposite, to show that I'm a zahid, to show that I am a alim, to show that I am this person who knows what he's doing. So he has two evils there. Hiding his naqas, hiding his weaknesses, and then showing off a different side of his. This is an imposter. فَيَكُونُ مُسْتَحِقًا لِلْمَقْتَيْنِ. So Imam Ghazali says, so he is doing two evils, so he is going to face two calamities. He's going to face two calamities. وَكَمَالَ الْعَارِفِ أَن يَتْرُكَ الشَّهَوَاتِ لِلَّهِ. And Imam Ghazali says, so if he's busy with two evils, he's going to get two calamities. Allah will sort him out. Those two calamities he will get. However, Imam Ghazali says, Kamaru Arif, the one who has complete knowledge of what he's about to do, where he is heading, and has this genuineness, this is the complete Arif. He says, Ayyatruka shahawat, he leaves the shahawat, this desire for food, this desire for fame, this desires, all of these other desires that is connected to the nafs, he leaves it. When he leaves it for what? Lillah. It's very important. So when a person says, well, I'm going to leave this so that I can get a slim body, I'm going to leave this so I can gain health, I'm going to leave this so that I can fit in with society, these are all worldly desires. This is not going to connect with Allah subhanahu. These amal, these actions and these hard work is not going to be, Allah's not going to look at it, at these work, because there's no ikhlas in it. When a person starts mujahada, such as this, training one's nafs on a on a Sufi diet, let me put it like that, or a diet of a mu'min, or let's put it the diet of a Muslim, the diet of a mu'min, and then the diet of a siddiq. If you want to strive towards that, then you have to start with Allah in the beginning. No? You have to start with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَيُظْهِرُ مِن نَفْسِهِ الشَّهْوَةِ إِسْقَاطًا لِمَنْزِلَتِهِ مِنْ قُلُوبِ الْخَلْقِ وَيُظْهِرَ ويظهر من نفسه الشهوة إسقاطا لمنزل من قلوب الخلق. And what he shows to the people is, he shows the people that he has shahwa, he has weakness. He starts over the good intention. The intention is for Allah. That's one big, mission completed. The second mission is, when a person is staying away from food, you don't show that you are all in control. Show that you are weak. Show that you are weak, that it's not easy. Right? Show your humanness to the people. Why? Because your nafs can't take that. And it's better for your nafs. Right? Show your humanness. وَهَذَا جَمْعٌ بَيْنَ صِدْقَيْنِ. And this is bringing two genuinenesses together. Right? Genuinely, I'm doing this for Allah. What better intention than to do things for Allah? The second genuine move is to show people that I'm struggling. It's not easy. It's painful. It's hard. But I'm doing it anyway because I get the ladha because I'm doing it for Allah. I get the sweetness because I'm doing it for Allah. Right? So here you're bringing two genuinenesses together. فَلَا جَرَمَ أُولَٰئِكَ يُؤْتُونَ أَجْرَهُ مَرَّتَيْنِ بِمَا صَبَرُوا. And this is what Allah says in the Quran. فَلَا جَرَمَ أُولَٰئِكَ يُؤْتُونَ أَجْرَهُمْ مَرَّتَيْنِ. And it's not, it's not far-fetched that these people, they will get their reward twice. They will get the reward twice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will get the reward twice for what they have endured. The second alpha, the second evil that we need to watch out for. So people are trying to discipline themselves on the intake of food. And from overeating, so many evils come from there. Okay, we've mentioned this in the beginning. The shahwa is let loose. It's like somebody, for example, one of our ulama, he mentioned, sometimes you try to discipline yourself and not to make riba. What a big enormity. It's an enormity, eating the dead meat of your brother. So, you, maybe during the week, you are doing well. You're doing well. You've not made riba of anybody. And then you had an excess intake of food. You stuffed yourself, proper stuffed yourself. And now you're so relaxed, right? What happens? You are not alert. You are not alert, so you start making riba of people. You're relaxed, your ruh is relaxed, you're in a sedated state. It's almost like you're intoxicated, and food is a form of intoxication. No? Like the Yamanis used to say that laham, meat, is like khamr, which intoxicates you. Once you have it once, you want it another time. And it's true. Look at our culture, our people, they can't have vegetable curry anymore. We ate out, not too long ago, at one of these restaurants, and it was buffet system. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. So wherever there's meat, wherever there's boti, and wherever there's gosht, right, it's getting empty and empty and empty and emptier. But there's a sign that says vegetable curry, and it's full. And it stayed like that, wallahi, until when we left. I mean, there were people who still came in. But I'm sure that they had to refill the meat in the vegetable state like this. It's just, we're intoxicated, we're addicted to it. And that is an afa. It's an afa. So we need to be sorting ourselves out. So الآفة الثانية أنه من ترك الشهوات يفرح أن يعرف به فيشتهر بالتعفف. نعم. So when a person starts leaving of these shahawat, what happens now? Now another ailment comes in. And this particular sickness is very, it's a sickness of takabbur really. A person should humble oneself, but now one becomes known in the community as the Zahid. And the problem here is, it's nothing wrong if people know you as a Zahid. People know you as a Ali because you've got ilm. But it's when you start loving The fact that people know that you are Zahid. Haha. You see how delicate it is? You start liking the fact that people know you are Alim. You start loving the fact that people know that you are the Sufi of the town. Or maybe the Khallaj of the town. Right? Now when that particular idea becomes, resonant in your mind and in your heart, it becomes a problem. To get it out becomes a problem. So a person has to be very careful to stick with a plan. Stick with a plan that this is for Allah all the way. فَقَدْ خَالَفَ شَهْوَةً ضَعِيفَةً وَأَطَاعَ شَهْوَةً هِيَ شَرٌّ مِنْهَا. So he got rid of a small shahwa, which is the desire to eat, to fill this belly. It's a small shahwa in comparison to the shahwa to be known. There's a shahwa as well, isn't it? It's a shahwa to be known. Fame is a shahwa. So if people start saying, mashallah, look how he walks, with all the pains and the pangs in his stomach, he's a zahid, khalas. He's been without food for a whole day, 3 days now. He's going for the diet, the Sufi diet, the diet of the Siddiq. It might come out, people know. And if the person starts, finding that, desirous and enjoying those statements of the people, then it is a problem. There's even a bigger shahwa than the shahwa that he left off. Okay? So a person needs to be careful. وَهِيَ شَهْوَةُ الْجَاهِ. And that shahwa is called shahwatul jah, the shahwa of fame. No? وَمَنْ تَرَكَ شَهْوَةَ الطَّعَامِ وَقَعَ فِي شَهْوَةَ الرِّيَاءِ كَانَ مَنْ هَرَبَ مِنْ أَقْرَبٍ وَفَزِعَ إِلَى حَيَّةٍ وَاللَّهُ وَلِيُّ التَّوْفِيقِ. So he says, it's like a person, this particular person, Imam Ghazali likes to give examples. Now listen to his examples. He says, like a person who runs away from a scorpion, right? But he runs away from the scorpion on this end, but as he's running to the other end, there's a snake waiting for him. Bigger danger than the previous danger. Aqrab, you can go there and stamp on it, khalas, finish, take your slipper, your flip-flop, and bang, there's it dead. But over there, there's a difficult situation. You can't go in with your dunda and show the snake out. It's not going to work. It's a bigger problem. So a person has to be aware of these things. Now, this is the end of the shahwatul ju'. Now, when a person fills the belly, what is the first shahwa that grows from there? What fertile soil does a full stomach creates with, creates what fertile soil for what sort of vegetation? What grows in that fertile soil of a full belly? Imam Ghazali says, what grows in a full belly is the shahwatul farj. The shahwatul farj, the shahwa of our genitals. Right? This is the first thing that grows. A person is well distant from that when he's in a state of ju'. He's controlled. Even the shaitan can't overpower him. It's like the nafs is that particular thing. It's ammaratun bisu. It orders you with evil. Right? But how can you control the nafs? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He created the nafs, He punished the nafs. And first of all, Allah says to the nafs, who am I? Allah asked the nafs. The nafs said, you are my slave and I'm your Lord. The nafs said. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished it by putting it for 1,000 years in extreme cold weather. It has been taken out after that. And Allah asked it again, who am I? And the nafs said, you are my slave and I'm your Lord. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the nafs and put it in extreme heat. And after 1,000 years took it out again and asked it again, who am I? And the nafs said, you are my slave and I'm your Lord. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who created the nafs, who knows the nafs, gave it 1 day of fast, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, who am I? And the nafs said, I am your slave and you are my Lord. 1 day of fast. The nafs completely broken in. And this is how we are training ourselves, by giving our nafs, by making our nafs not to be that obstacle in our way. Because sometimes we move towards the right direction, but what do we have? We have a nafs pulling us into the wrong direction. Why? Because it is strong. What made it strong? Feel your belly. Is it full? Have you eaten the food of people who don't worship Allah? Have you eaten the food of people who are not dhakirin of Allah? Okay? If you've eaten the food of people who don't make salah, for example. And this type of thing we have to think about, because it does affect our nafs. It makes our nafs strong. It makes our nafs strong. So, this is why Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Ya ma'ashra al-shabab, man istata'a minkum al-ba'ata falyatazawwaj. O young men, whosoever of you can look after a family, get married. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَعَلَيْهِ بِصَوْمٍ. And if he can't, let him fast. Why? Because that shahwa that pulls you to the opposite sex, right, is now killed. Through what? Through sawm. But if the belly is filled up constantly, it is always a struggle for me as a young man to control my shahwat when there are the opposite sex present. Okay? Mind will think, Imam al-Ghazali speaks about this in the chapter of Babun Nikah, that even the Salihun have this problem. Even the Salihun have this problem. Even the Zuhad have this problem. One of the Sahaba, Ridwanullah alayhim, they had shahwat fluctuates in people. Right? It's like the desire for food. That also fluctuates in people. Some of the Sahaba used to break their fast with their wife instead of with food. Right? Because of their shahawat. And it's halal, there's nothing wrong. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, وَفِي بُضْعِ أَحَدِكُمْ صَدَقَةً. And in your genitals there is sadaqah. Ya Rasulullah, how can it be? Rasul said, look ya akhi, if you use the genitals in haram, isn't it a wizard upon you? Isn't it a sin upon you? Yes, Ya Rasulullah. Likewise, if you use it in halal, it becomes a reward for you. Subhanallah. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can make all our organs in our bodies work for us and against us. Right? It depends how you use it. Now, so the first thing that grows from these full bellies is shahawat. And look in our communities. Look carefully in our communities. How our young men indulge themselves in all sorts of foods. Restaurants are packed. No? Restaurants are packed. Even in Ramadan, restaurants are packed. People flood. They flood into the restaurants. They sit there, they're waiting for iftari. What is the first thing that comes on? Mixed grill. There's no vegetable, khalas, this is the way we eat. So if we carry on like this, we're going to start, what we're going to start picking up? We're going to start picking up animalistic attitudes. Right? You eat the animal and you become like it. You eat vegetable, you become like a vegetable. وَسُلِّطَ عَلَى الْإِنسَانِ لِفَائِدَةً. But remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala planted that shahwa in us for two reasons. Remember, we have to remember that the shahwa is not entirely bad. It's not entirely bad, huh? It's like anger. Anger is not entirely bad. How are you going to make jihad fi sabilillah if you don't have anger? How are you going to protect your family if somebody assault them? If somebody tells X, Y, and Z about Rasulullah, how are you going to get angry? Things that are not beautiful, things that are not, insulting about Rasulullah. Aren't you not going to get angry? Where's your anger? Your anger is at this particular moment. Your anger is rewarded for. So here as well. So Imam al-Ghazali tells us, what has the shahwa been created for? Young men, we have to know this. Even married men, we have to know this. Al-awwalu, the first thing is, baqa'un nasl. Allah subhanahu wants to see that human beings reproduce. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never speaks about birth control. Allah subhanahu never speaks about family planning. Rasulullah never speaks about family planning. As a matter of fact, Rasulullah told the Sahabas off when they started family planning. Even though they did it, they said in the hadith Sahih in Bukhari and Muslim, كُنَّا نَعْزِلُ عِنْدَ عَلَىٰ عَهْدِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. We used to do family planning in the time of Rasulullah. And Rasulullah said, why are you doing family planning? Don't you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who gives you rizq? You know? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, you know, لا تقتلوا أولادكم خشية إملاق. Don't kill your children out of fear of poverty. What is this? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encourages marriage. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَانْكِحُوا الْأَيَّامَ مِنْكُمْ وَالصَّالِحِينَ مِنْ عِبَادِكُمْ إِنْ يَكُونُوا فُقَرَاءَ يُغْنِيَهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. Marry your young men and women as walis, dads and granddads and uncles and brothers. Marry your daughters off. And your young sons, marry them off. Don't let them wait for, you know, till they, for 15 years they've been sexually active, and now after 15, 20 years you want to start looking for them. No, it doesn't work like Islam. Isn't like that. Right? وَانْكِحُوا is a command, أَيَّامَ مِنْكُمْ is a command to the awliya, to the wali. You know? وَالصَّالِحِينَ مِنْ عِبَادِكُمْ, and the pious of your offspring. إِن يَكُونُوا فُقَرَاء, if they are poor, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will enrich them. Right? And this is why Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu used to get so angry. He used to say, when people used to come to him and say, yeah, when he said, why are you not married? He said, well, I can't because I don't have, you know, enough result, you know, I don't have this, I don't have that. Sayyidina Umar used to get angry. He said, utlubul ghina fi nikah, seek wealth in marriage. You want to get wealthy? Go get married. If you're going to be a lazy bum, your wife will start kicking you and she will see that you make a move, start earning money. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made them like that. They are encouraging us. Now, hunna libasul lakum wa antum libasul lahum. They are our protectors and so are we theirs. أن يقيس على اللذة منقضية الزائلة للذات لا تنقضي ولا تزول. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave this shahwa for another reason, and this is the second one. So we can make an analogy in our minds. The sweetness of the lahwa, of fulfilling our desires with our families, with our spouses, to make an analogy and to draw parallels between this desire and the desire of the akhirah. It's everlasting. This is 2 seconds, 3 seconds. This is everlasting that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has in store for us the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, if you are mu'minun. So it's an incentive. It's an incentive for us to get closer to the Jannah. In other words, to get closer to Allah. It's an incentive to fulfill Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's divine commands. It's an incentive to stay away from the haram, because we experience a ladha, and there's no ladha greater than that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us the ladha like that, the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, forever and forever and forever, you know, without any ending. وَفِيهَا مِنَ الْآفَاتِ مَا يُهْلِكُ الدِّينَ وَالدُّنْيَا إِنْ لَمْ تُبَّتْ وَتُقْهَرْ وَتُرَدُّ إِلَى حَدِّ الْاعْتِدَالِ. However, Imam al-Ghazali says, however, in this shahwa, in fulfilling one's desires, the desire of the lower organs, he says, in there are afat, there are evils, in there are diseases. If a person does not tie it down and control it, it becomes one of the great evils that change the way man behaves. وَالْإِفْرَاطُ يَحْرِمُ سُلُوكَ طَرِيقَ الْآخِرَةِ. So if a person be in excess of this, of fulfilling one's desires, what does it do? It draws one back from from continuing on the path towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أو يقهر الدين حتى يجر إلى الاقتحام al-fawahish. Or for example, it will diminish one's deen. One's deen will be centered around shahawat. You get some men, and nowadays women as well, the only thing that is on their mind is fulfilling their desires. Subhanallah. And it goes to that extent that it now is not fulfilled with what they have of halal, but fulfilled with what is haram. No? This particular thing is a danger in our community. Subhanallah. You find married men that go to this extent. They go to this extent. Now, it is very, very common and relevant, prevalent in our community, and that is a big sickness. Because if a person carries on that, what happens? We have mentioned this before. What happens if these two zani and zania, fornicators, if there is a child involved after they're coming together, then they are actually adding to society a calamity. Okay? A child who grows up in a community that has no connection to a mother or father, because this is how it happens. This is how it happens. That father doesn't want to know the child. Right? That father never wants to be associated with the child. That child will carry a different surname, a surname from his mother. His mother can't separate herself from a child. And nowadays, even the mother will give up the child. It's known, it's happening in our communities. That child is growing up without an identity. That identity of the child is an identity of one. The identity that he is a child is born out of wedlock. That is his identity. He can't associate him with his father because there's no way he is. He can't associate him with his mother because the mother doesn't want him. With the exception of a few that do bear the brunt and bite the bullet and raise these children. But what happens here is this is a murder of a child's psyche, a murder of a child's identity. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the ayat of zina is followed right after the ayat of murder, where Allah speaks about murder in the Quran. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala follows the ayat of zina. Now, لا تقربوا الزنا إنه كان فاحشة ومقتا وساء سبيلا. Don't get close to zina because it's a big fahisha. ومقتا, it is it's a big black blot on you, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala angers upon you. وساء سبيلا, and the journey forth to the future is all not going to be that rosy. And this is what we need to be aware of. We need to control the shahwat. And the way to control the shahwat is not to give it fertile grounds to grow. It's for the shahwat al-farj, the shahwat of the genitals. So that child grows up, we didn't complete it, grows up as if his identity has been murdered. Not physical murder, but identity is murder. That child might grow up to become a murderer that will commit atrocities and murders and rape and all of these other things in the community that we so much try to avoid from happening in our societies. ومثال من يكسر صورة الالتفات إلى شهوة أول انبعاثه مثال من يصرف عنان الدابة عند توجهها إلى باب لتدخلها. ومثال من يعالجها بعد استحكامها مثل من يترك الدابة حتى تدخل وتجاوز الباب ثم يأخذ بذنبه إلى ورائه. So Imam Ghazali says, be aware. Stop this, control this before it takes root within a person. He says it's like when it takes root within a person, right, is if a person wants to stop this desire from taking root while it is already started to take root. It's like a person who tries to turn the head of the horse with his with a reins, what do you call reins, with the ropes, whatever it is. He's trying to pull the horse when the horse is right at the door. He wants to pull the horse away from the door. It's too late. When do you pull the horse away from the door? You don't want it to enter into this gate, this door. You can't enter the horse in here because it's not it's a dangerous area. You can't enter it in there. So you pull the horse way before it gets to the door, you pull it away from it. And that is what the horse symbolizes our shahawat and our desires for the lower selves. We pull it away early before it reaches the door. But when it reaches the door, the likelihood that it will enter is very, very much likely. Right? So what we need to do is to wake up early. Early that if we have this shahawat and desires upon us before it takes root. And if it has taken root already, it's like the person is trying to take the horse by the tail after it already entered into the door and is into the danger zone, and I want to take the horse by the tail and pull it back out. It's very difficult, right? فَإِذًا إِفْرَاطُ الشَّهْوَةِ أَن تَغْلِبُ الْعَقْلِ. So what do we consider, this going to the extreme in fulfilling one's desires of the lower organs? What do we mean by that? We mean by that is that, what is the definition, in other words? The definition of the shahwa taking root is when the shahwa is clouding the brain, the aql. So the aql can't be used anymore. And the aql is a mizan. The aql is a scale, like I told you before in the Attas of Aqidah. The aql is a mizan. It weighs what is right and what is wrong. Okay? So when the shahawat clouds his aql, the aql becomes impaired. Your scale doesn't work anymore. So you're going to start weighing, and what happens? It might weigh the wrong as right and the right as wrong. Right? And this is a big danger. So what do we call this particular situation? We call this person's mind is intoxicated. Right? He becomes addicted, he's an addict. وَهُوَ مَذْمُومٌ جِدًّا. And Imam Ghazali says this is very blameworthy. And this is what we have in our communities. The atrocities that some of the Muslim brothers in our community have committed, this is all because their minds have been clouded. They can't think, they can't use their aql anymore. Their aql decides, listen, if I'm going to do and go in this direction, I'm going to face eternal, unhappiness. This direction is eternal happiness. I can see myself going into, into a trap or into a danger zone. If I go this way, I can see I'm avoiding the trap. I'm going into a safe haven. Right? So your mind can weigh the two, the evil from the not evil. وتفريطها بالعنة أو الضعف عن أداء حق المنكوحة وهو أيضا مذموم. And Imam Ghazali says, don't get me wrong now, don't become zahideen. Don't completely leave this off. Because we have to look at Rasulullah. Rasulullah used to say, أَنَا أَتْقَاكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَأَخْشَاكُم. I am the most God-fearing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most fearful of you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لكن أصوم وأفطر. I eat and I fast. وأرقد وأصلي وأرقد. I pray in the middle of the night and I sleep sometimes. I don't pray the whole night through. Okay? وأتزوج النساء, and I marry the woman folk. So it's not completely, I'm live a life of, of not marrying the woman. Allah said, you got a question? No. You didn't have a question? طيب. So that is important to know, that we have to strike the balance. So when a person goes into inna is where the person doesn't have shahwa for women. It is not also good. Because the most intelligent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala human beings are who? Are the messengers and the prophets. And every single one of them married. As a matter of fact, they married more than one. So it means that these intelligent human beings, the Anbiya, the Rusul, there is benefit in there. Now, what kind of benefit? Benefit to make me and you a better person. Right? So it is not a wise idea to live a life of celibacy, but rather to make time for marriage in one's life. Okay? To work towards that. Imam Ghazali says, وَهُوَ أَيْضًا مَذْمُومٌ. It is also something that is blameworthy in Islam. وَإِنَّمَا الْمَحْمُودُ أَن تَكُونَ مُعْتَدِلَةً وَمُطِيعَةً لِلْعَقْلِ وَالشَّرْعِ. Imam Ghazali says, the way forward is this, and this is what brothers need to do. They need to follow a middle path. Don't live a single life. Say, I can manage without a woman, I don't need a woman. Time will come that your shahwa is going to get to you. What are you going to do? Find a woman within an hour? No, it's impossible. It takes sometimes years to find the right spouse. Right? So a person needs to start early, find the right spouse. And Imam Ghazali says here, the way forward is, or the praiseworthy way is, أن تكون معتدلة, is to be in the middle, is to be balanced, is to be balanced. Get married. And how do you get married? Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam encouraged the Sahaba to get married. Get married, even if he doesn't have anything. One of the Sahaba came to Rasul, Ya Rasul, I can't get married. What have you got there? I got nothing, Ya Rasulullah. I want to get married, I want to get married. Rasul sallallahu saw the need of this young man and he said, who can help this young man with his had meher? And the Sahabas put some gold together and it was the size of a date seed, and Rasul married him with that. He said, okay, you married, get married. You need nothing. Where does it say? Allahu Alam. But the result comes when they get married. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala works in strange ways. You give more sadaqah, you get more. Subhanallah. Maybe you don't get more, but the barakah grows in your life. Subhanallah. You get married, you spend more, you spend on your family. Allah loves that. The best of sadaqah man can do is spending on his family. Not on poor people or mujahideen. Spend on your family. And this is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increases the result in the person's life. So the person, he becomes wealthy because of that. What about the other person who came to Rasulullah? Ya Rasulullah, I can't get married. What have you got? Got nothing. Have you got anything of the Quran? Yes, I've got so much of the Quran. Okay, I marry you to her for what you have of the Quran. Okay, you can teach her the Quran, you can teach her how to read the Quran and the ahkam of the Quran. So that is a skill. To teach the Quran is a skill. Not anybody can do that. So you teach her that, and that is something she will gain. And when she teaches that to the children in the neighborhood or in the area, or maybe her family's children, she's going to get benefit. They're going to give her rewards. So it is a hadmah. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam highly encouraged it. Highly encouraged it. ومهما أفرطت نعم فمهما أفرطت فكسرها بالجوع ونكاح وكثرة الذكر. نعم. And the best way, if a person is not on that level yet, right, to get married, this is the way, get married. This is the mu'tadil way, this is the balanced way is to get married, right? Imam Ghazali says, if you are not, if you know you're gonna be harming your wife or harming your family, right? For a fact you're gonna be harming her, then it's afdal for you not to get married and to busy yourself with what? Imam Ghazali says, to break your shahwa with hunger, or if you do become strong financially to get married, or if not, to stay hungry and to do lots of dhikrullah, lots of dhikrullah, lots of dhikrullah. Keep the nafs busy. النفس إن لم تشغلها بالخير شغلتك بالشر. Imam Shafi said, If you don't busy the nafs with good, it will busy you with bad. That is the legacy of the nafs and the nature of the nafs. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the hadith which we've mentioned before, Ya ma'ashara al-shabab, man istata'a minkum al-ba'ata falyatazawwaj, فَمَنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَعَلَيْهِ بِالصَّوْمِ فَإِنَّهُ لَهُ وِجَاءٌ. If a young man wants to, if a young man is by the means to get married, let him get married. If not, if he can't, then let him fast, because it's a protection for him. Now, what does inshallah, how much time have we got left? 40 minutes. So do we have time for Sayyidina Talha ibn Ubaydillah? Okay. Okay, inshaAllah ta'ala. We're going to stop there. This is very important. We have summarized a great deal, because the chapter of the Shahwatul Farj is extremely wide in the Ihya al-Ulumuddin. But we have just summarized it, and this is the crux of the matter. The crux of the matter is to control the intake of food and the type of food that one takes in. The type of food that one takes in. No? That is very, very important. And from there, we should also know that shahwa is a good thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has planted shahwa in us human beings. Remember, it's not only males, it's in females as well. Okay? It's in females as well, so it goes to both. The shahwa is there so that the nasa, that the human reproduction continue, and that we can draw parallels between what we experience of ladda, of sweetness here in the dunya, with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised us in the year after. Now, alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.